Something is happening inside the Los Angeles Lakers organization right now, and nobody is talking about it the way they should be. There are whispers coming out of the hallways of the Crypto.com arena. There are phone calls being made. There are meetings happening behind closed doors. And if you've been paying close attention, really paying attention, you can feel it. Something is shifting. Something big is coming. And the rest of the NBA? They're nervous. Because the Lakers don't just make moves. The Lakers make statements. They don't just rebuild. They reload. They don't just plan for the future. They reach out and grab it with both hands and drag it into the present. That's who they are. That's what this franchise does. And right now, in this moment, all the signs are pointing to something massive on the horizon. So buckle up. Get comfortable. Because we are going deep today. We're going to break down everything. Every rumor, every report, every whisper, every piece of the puzzle. And by the time we're done, you're going to understand exactly what the Lakers are building. You're going to see the picture before most people even know there's a canvas. This is the Lakers. And they are absolutely up to something huge. Let's go. Alright, so let's set the scene first. Because to understand where the Lakers are going, you have to understand where they've been. You have to feel the weight of the last few years. The frustration. The near misses. The what-ifs. The moments that had the fan base screaming at their televisions. Think about it. The Lakers have one of the most iconic rosters in NBA history sitting right in front of them, and yet somehow, it keeps feeling like they're just one piece away. Just one move away. Just one decision away from being the team that everyone feared when LeBron James first put on that purple and gold jersey and walked onto that court and the entire basketball world held its breath. Remember that moment? When LeBron arrived in Los Angeles. The air changed. The entire energy of the Western Conference shifted overnight. Because when LeBron James goes somewhere, champions follow. Rings follow. History follows. And the Lakers faithful, those loyal, passionate, sometimes absolutely heartbroken fans, they believed. They believed with everything they had. And they got their reward. The 2020 championship. The bubble. The trophy. The tears. LeBron and Anthony Davis lifting that Larry O'Brien trophy while the world was locked indoors watching through screens. It was surreal. It was beautiful. It was everything the Lakers had been working toward. But championships are addictive. Once you taste gold, bronze doesn't feel like anything. And since that 2020 title, the Lakers have been chasing that feeling again. Clawing at it. Reaching for it. And every time they get close, something goes wrong. An injury. A trade deadline miss. A roster mismatch. A first-round exit that felt like a punch to the stomach. That ends now. Because the Lakers front office, Rob Pelinka and the entire decision-making apparatus behind that famous purple and gold curtain, they've been watching. They've been evaluating. They've been patient. And now they're ready to act. Let's talk about the foundation first. Because before you can understand the moves they're about to make, you have to understand what they're building on. Anthony Davis. Let's start there, because you cannot tell the story of this Lakers team without talking about Anthony Davis, and you cannot talk about Anthony Davis without feeling this mixture of awe and anxiety that every single Lakers fan knows intimately. When Anthony Davis is healthy and locked in, he is genuinely one of the 5 best players on the planet. Full stop. No debate. The man is a physical freak in the most complimentary way possible. 8 feet of wingspan practically. A defensive anchor who can guard literally every position on the floor. An offensive weapon who can score from everywhere. In the post, in the mid-range, at the rim, even from 3 when he's feeling it. He blocks shots. He alters shots. He makes opponents think twice before they even step into the paint. And when he goes, the Lakers go. That's been proven over and over again. The 2020 title? Davis was a monster. The playoff runs that worked. Davis was dominant. The seasons that fell apart. Davis wasn't right. It's that simple and it's that complicated all at the same time. So the Lakers have made a decision. A quiet but powerful decision. Anthony Davis is the guy. He is the centerpiece. He is what this team is built around. And every single move they make going forward, every trade, every free agent signing, every draft pick, every lineup decision, is being made with Anthony Davis at the center of the blueprint. That is a massive philosophical shift. Because for years, even with Davis on the roster, there was always this sense that the team was being built around LeBron first. LeBron was the alpha. LeBron was the centerpiece. And Davis was the devastating co-star. The most lethal co-star in basketball, but the co-star nonetheless. No. The dynamic has changed. And how that changed, and what it means for everything going forward, is one of the most fascinating storylines in the entire NBA right now. Speaking of LeBron James. Man, where do we even begin? LeBron James is 39, 40 years old, depending on when you're watching this, and he is still doing things on a basketball court that make your jaw drop. He is defying physics. He is defying biology. He is defying every expectation we have ever had about how long elite athletes can perform at the highest level. The man played alongside his son, Bronny James, on the Los Angeles Lakers. Let that sink in for a second. A father and son, playing together, in the NBA, on the same team, in the same lineup, running plays together, sharing a locker room. That has literally never happened in the history of professional basketball. And LeBron James made it happen because of course he did. Because LeBron James does things that have never been done before. That's just what he does. But here's where it gets really interesting. Here's where the Lakers situation becomes this genuinely complex and fascinating chess match. Because LeBron James is not a guaranteed Laker going forward. His future with the team, whether he retires, whether he plays another season, whether he demands to go somewhere else to chase one more ring, that is a massive variable in everything the Lakers are planning. And the way the Lakers handle LeBron's situation will tell you everything about who they are as an organization right now. Do they build for LeBron's final chapter? Do they start the transition to the post-LeBron era? Or, and this is where it gets wild, do they somehow manage to do both at the same time? Because that's what the rumors are suggesting. That's what the whispers coming out of the organization are pointing toward. The Lakers are trying to thread the most incredible needle in basketball. They're trying to be competitive right now, for LeBron, for this moment, while simultaneously laying the groundwork for what comes after. And based on what we're hearing, they might actually pull it off. Let me tell you about the trade rumors. Because this is where things get absolutely electric. The NBA trade landscape right now is a powder keg. There are players on the market, or about to be on the market, that would make every team in the league salivate. And the Lakers? They've been connected to essentially all of them. Every major trade rumor that has dropped in recent months has the Lakers' name somewhere in the conversation. And there's a reason for that. The Lakers have assets. Real assets. Assets that other teams actually want. Draft picks. Young players with genuine upside. Role players on reasonable contracts. And when you combine those assets with the gravitational pull of playing in Los Angeles, in Hollywood, in the City of Stars, in the franchise with 17 championship banners, you have a recruiting pitch that no other team can fully replicate. Players want to be Lakers. That's just a fact. It's been a fact for decades, and it remains a fact today. And the front office knows how to use that. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you a specific trade has been agreed to, because that's not where we are. What I'm going to tell you is what the reporting suggests is possible. What sources close to the situation are indicating. What the body language of this organization is screaming, even when their mouths are saying nothing. The Lakers are looking for a third star. A genuine third option who can take the pressure off Davis and LeBron, or Davis and whoever the second piece ends up being, and give this team a truly terrifying offensive ceiling. Someone who can create their own shot. Someone who can be the primary ball handler in crunch time when the defense collapses on Davis. Someone who adds a dimension to this offense that opposing coaches literally cannot scheme around. Multiple names have been floated. Multiple dominoes are lined up. And the moment one of them falls, everything else accelerates rapidly. Let's talk about the young core, because this is something that doesn't get enough attention. People talk about the Lakers like they're an aging, win-now team throwing everything they have at one last championship run. And while there's some truth to that narrative, it's not the complete picture. Not even close. The Lakers have been quietly developing young talent. Quietly building depth. Quietly stacking the roster with players who can grow into meaningful contributors, or be packaged in trades, depending on how the situation unfolds. And this is strategic. This is intentional. Rob Pelinka and the front office have learned from the mistakes of the early LeBron era in Los Angeles, when they gutted the roster for veterans who didn't work out and left themselves with no flexibility and no youth. They're not making that mistake again. They're keeping their powder dry on multiple fronts simultaneously. The young players on this roster aren't just space fillers. They're chips. Valuable chips. And the way those chips get played over the next several months will determine the trajectory of this franchise for years to come. Think about what it means to have real trade value in the modern NBA. Teams with bad contracts and no young assets have no leverage. They're stuck. They can't make moves even when they see the perfect opportunity because they have nothing to offer. The Lakers have made sure that's not their situation. They have flexibility. They have options. And options in the NBA are everything. Now let's talk about something that everyone seems to be dancing around, but nobody wants to say directly. Coaching. The coaching situation with the Los Angeles Lakers is one of the most important and underrated storylines of this entire offseason. Because what happens on the sideline matters almost as much as what happens on the roster. The right coach can unlock a player's potential. The right system can make average players look elite and elite players look unstoppable. J.J. Redick stepped into one of the most difficult coaching jobs in professional sports with essentially zero head coaching experience and somehow managed to hold it together. More than hold it together. He established relationships. He built trust with veterans who are notoriously difficult to coach. He communicated clearly and consistently. He showed that he understood the modern game at a conceptual level. But here's the thing about coaches in the NBA. The first year is always about survival. The first year is about learning on the job, making mistakes, figuring out what works and what doesn't, building the foundation of a culture. The second year is where you find out who a coach really is. Because now the league has tape on you. Now opposing coaches know your tendencies. Now the players know what to expect from you. Now the pressure is real and unavoidable. How J.J. Redick responds to that elevated pressure is going to be fascinating to watch. And the Lakers organization, the people signing the checks, the people making the decisions, they're watching very closely. They're evaluating. They're deciding whether this is the long-term answer or whether they need to make a change. Because in Los Angeles, good isn't good enough. In Los Angeles, the standard is championships. Always. Forever. That's not changing. The banner count is the measuring stick, and right now the Lakers want more banners. Let me take you inside the front office for a moment. Let me describe what's actually happening behind the scenes, based on everything that's been reported and everything that sources have been whispering. Picture a conference room. Nice furniture. Screens on the walls showing stats, salary cap numbers, trade machine scenarios. People around the table with laptops open, phones buzzing, spreadsheets projected everywhere. Rob Pelinka at the head. Assistants bringing in updated information. Scouts calling in with reports. The conversation going late into the night and starting again early the next morning. This is the life of an NBA front office during the off-season. This is the grind that fans never see. The thousands of hours of work that go into every single move that looks simple and obvious from the outside. The agonizing decisions. The trades that fall apart at the last minute. The free agents who string you along and then sign somewhere else. The draft picks that don't pan out. The injuries you couldn't predict. And through all of that chaos, you need a vision. A clear, unwavering vision of what you're trying to build and why. And the Lakers, right now, have that vision. It's sharp. It's specific. And it's more aggressive than anything they've attempted in years. They want to win a championship. Not eventually. Not someday. Or as close to now as humanly possible. Because the window with elite players is always smaller than you think it is. Anthony Davis isn't getting younger. LeBron James, whatever he decides to do with his career, isn't getting younger. The moment to strike is always closer to today than you think it is. And that urgency, that's driving everything. Let's get into the specific positions of need, because this is where the strategy gets really interesting. If you watch Lakers games, really watch them, not just the highlights, you notice patterns. You notice where they're vulnerable. You notice the moments when the defense breaks down, when the offense stalls, when the opposing team makes a run and the Lakers have no answer. And those moments tell you exactly where the front office needs to focus. Wing depth. That's one of the big ones. The Lakers need versatile wings who can guard multiple positions, hit open threes, and compete physically in a Western Conference that is absolutely loaded with elite teams right now. The West is brutal. It is deeply, mercilessly brutal. The amount of star power concentrated in that conference right now is almost unfair. And to survive in that environment, not just survive, but thrive, you need depth at the wing position that goes beyond what the Lakers currently have. Point guard stability. This has been a recurring issue. When LeBron plays the point, it works spectacularly, because LeBron is one of the greatest facilitators in basketball history. But LeBron can't play 82 games at 40 years old, and when he sits, the Lakers have historically struggled to maintain offensive coherence. They need a capable backup guard who can run the offense without LeBron and keep the second unit from hemorrhaging points. Three-point shooting. The NBA in 2025 and beyond is a three-point shooting league. Full stop. Teams that can't shoot from distance get picked apart by modern defenses. The spacing collapses. The paint gets congested. Anthony Davis, as brilliant as he is, cannot fully operate when the floor isn't spaced around him. The Lakers know this. And they are specifically targeting guys who shoot a high percentage from beyond the arc on a consistent basis. These are the areas of need. These are the holes in the roster that the front office is laser-focused on filling. And the moves they make to fill those holes are going to define this team's competitiveness for the next several seasons. Alright, let's talk about the draft for a minute, because the NBA draft is one of the most underappreciated tools in a front office's arsenal, and the Lakers have been using it in interesting ways. Draft picks are currency. Every NBA fan knows this. But what people sometimes forget is that draft picks are not all created equal. A lottery pick, a top 5, top 10 pick, is enormously valuable. It's a chance to get a franchise-altering player. But a late first-round pick, a second-round pick, a pick swap? Those are still valuable. They're chips you can use. You can package them together. You can send them to a team desperate for future assets. You can attach them to bad contracts to facilitate moves. They give you flexibility. The Lakers have been accumulating picks and pick swaps. Quietly, methodically, building up this treasury of future assets that gives them options they wouldn't otherwise have. And the reason that matters right now is because of what those picks represent in potential trade packages. If there's a star player available, a genuine star, not just a good player, but a real impact player who changes the balance of a roster, the Lakers want to be in that conversation. They want to make the call. They want to have the ability to put together an offer that competing teams simply cannot match. And to do that, you need assets. Real assets. Tangible, valuable, coveted assets. The groundwork has been laid. The assets are there. And the sense inside the organization, the genuine, palpable sense, is that they're ready to use them. Let me talk about LeBron's legacy for a second, because I think it's crucial to understanding the Lakers' urgency right now. LeBron James is the greatest basketball player of all time. I know that's a debate that fans love to have, and I'm not here to definitively settle it, but I'm here to say this. The man has done things in this sport that are historically unprecedented. He has sustained excellence at the absolute highest level for longer than any player we have ever seen. The combination of longevity, efficiency, impact, and winning is simply unmatched in the modern era. And he came to Los Angeles to win. Not to be comfortable. Not to coast. Not to pad his stats. He came here to win championships and cement his legacy as the greatest to ever do it. Every move LeBron has made in his career has been calculated with that goal in mind. The decisions. The teams he chose. The moments he forced and the moments he manufactured. All of it has been in service of one thing: winning at the highest level. The Lakers know that. They feel the weight of that. They understand that if LeBron James leaves this organization without another championship, it will be seen as a failure. Not by everyone. The 2020 title is real, it counts, it cannot be erased, but by the relentlessly demanding standards of the franchise and the fan base and the basketball world. Another ring would be transcendent. Another ring would be one of the greatest individual achievements in the history of team sports. And that motivates everyone in that building. It motivates the coaches. It motivates the front office. It motivates the other players. When you're in the same locker room as LeBron James, when you share a practice court and a film session and a team dinner with one of the greatest athletes in human history, you want to be part of something special. You want to contribute to the story. You want your name to be remembered in the same breath as his. That's a powerful recruiting tool. And it's something the Lakers use, consciously and constantly. Let's pivot and talk about the Eastern Conference for a second, because understanding the whole picture means understanding the whole league. The East is fascinating right now. There are several elite teams. There are future powerhouses being built. There is young talent exploding onto the scene that is going to reshape the landscape of basketball over the next decade. And the Lakers are watching all of it very carefully. Because in a perfect world, you want to be the team that everyone else has to prepare for. You want to be the boogeyman. The team that opposing coaches lose sleep over. The team that every other front office is building to beat. That's the position the Lakers want to occupy. And right now, they're right on the edge of it. They're one or two moves away from being genuinely terrifying in a way that they haven't been since the 2020 bubble run. The interesting thing about the current NBA landscape is how wide open it genuinely feels. There are great teams, absolutely. Teams that have the talent and depth to be championship contenders. But there's no truly dominant team right now. No team that looks at the rest of the league and says, yeah, none of you have a chance. The championship is legitimately up for grabs. And in a league where the championship is up for grabs, the team that makes the right moves at the right time has a real shot. The Lakers believe that team is them. They believe the right moves are right in front of them. And they're reaching for them with everything they've got. Now I want to talk about something really specific, and I want you to pay close attention here, because this is the kind of detail that separates the people who really understand what's happening from the people who are just reacting to surface-level headlines. Cap space management. Flexibility. Contract structures. I know, this sounds like the boring stuff. This sounds like the spreadsheet conversation, not the exciting basketball conversation. But trust me when I tell you that this is where championships are actually built. Not in the highlights. Not in the press conferences. In the quiet, careful management of salary cap space and contract structures. The NBA has a salary cap, and navigating it is genuinely one of the most complex challenges in professional sports management. The rules are intricate. The exceptions are numerous. The tax implications are significant. And making one bad contract, signing one player to one deal that turns out to be wrong, can cripple an organization for years. The Lakers have not been perfect in this regard over the years. There have been contracts that didn't work out. There have been decisions that seemed smart in the moment and looked terrible in hindsight. But right now, in this particular moment, the Lakers' cap situation is actually better than it's been in a while. They have some flexibility. They have maneuvering room. And the question is how they use it. The most boring-sounding decisions. Who gets a 2-year deal versus a 3-year deal? Which player gets a team option versus a player option? How you structure the back end of a contract? Those decisions accumulate over time and either trap you or liberate you. And right now, the decisions the Lakers are making are designed to liberate. To give them maximum flexibility to act when the right opportunity presents itself. That opportunity is coming. Everyone in that organization can feel it. Let me tell you about the culture inside that locker room, because it matters more than people think. When Anthony Davis talks, and he doesn't always say the loud things, he's not always the quote machine that makes the front page. When he talks, people listen. Because Davis has quiet authority. He has the kind of presence that fills a room without demanding attention. And recently, the things Davis has been saying, and the way he's been saying them, suggest a player who has fully embraced leadership in a way we haven't always seen from him. That's significant. Anthony Davis, as the willing, enthusiastic leader of the Los Angeles Lakers, is a different animal than Anthony Davis as the talented co-star who sometimes seemed uncomfortable with the spotlight. When Davis is locked in, mentally, emotionally, physically, this team is almost impossible to beat. When he's completely bought in, when he's carrying the weight of leadership without flinching, the ceiling of this franchise becomes something genuinely special to contemplate. The coaching staff has clearly worked hard on this. The conversations they've had. The way they've structured the offense to feature Davis prominently. The message they've sent, to him, to the rest of the team, to the whole league, that this is Davis's team and they're building it around him and they believe in him completely. That kind of affirmation does something to a player. It unlocks something. And if Anthony Davis walks into this season with that full investment, with that complete confidence, with that unwavering sense of, I am the man on this team, look out. Just look out. Here's something interesting that I think gets overlooked in all the big move conversation. The smaller moves. The details. The stuff that fills in the edges of the picture. The Lakers' success has often come down to the quality of their supporting cast. Everybody remembers that the 2020 team had Alex Caruso, had Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, had Danny Green until he got hurt in the finals, had Rajon Rondo coming off the bench dropping 30 points in a must-win game, had Kyle Kuzma, had Dwight Howard being exactly what Dwight Howard needed to be in that moment. Role players win championships. Role players keep your stars fresh. Role players make life infinitely easier for your elite guys by doing the dirty work, hitting the open shots, making the right plays in the right moments without needing the ball in their hands or attention pointed in their direction. The Lakers are building that supporting cast right now. Every signing, every trade, every free agent workout, it's all about finding the guys who fit the profile. Smart, unselfish, reliable, able to guard multiple positions, able to hit open threes, able to play in big moments without their knees shaking. Those players exist. The NBA is full of them. And finding the right ones, at the right price, in the right moments, that's an art form. And it's an art form that the Lakers front office has quietly gotten much better at over the last couple of years. Alright, let's talk about the Western Conference competition, because if you think the Lakers are just going to walk into the playoffs and cruise, you need to think again. The West is loaded. Absolutely loaded. You've got teams with multiple All-Stars. Teams with deep rosters and excellent coaching. Teams that have been building toward this moment for years and are now ready to make their push. The path through the Western Conference is brutal, unforgiving, and littered with the wreckage of teams that thought they were ready and found out the hard way that they weren't. Oklahoma City, Golden State, Denver, Phoenix, Minnesota, Dallas. These are organizations that are either competing at the highest level right now or are building toward it with frightening speed. Every single one of them is a genuine challenge. Every single first-round series in the West is a potential upset. Every second-round matchup is a war. And the Lakers have to navigate all of that. They have to survive a brutal 82-game regular season, likely without all of their key players for all 82 games, and then turn around and win 4 playoff series against teams that are equally desperate, equally talented, and equally hungry. That's why the moves they make this offseason matter so enormously. Because you're not just building for January. You're not just building for the regular season. You're building for June. You're building for Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals. You're building for the finals. And the team that wins in June looks very different from the team that looks impressive in November. The Lakers understand this. They've been there. They know what a championship team feels like, what it looks like, what it needs. And they're trying to build that thing again. Let's talk about free agency, because the movement of free agents this summer has been, and continues to be, one of the most consequential storylines for what the Lakers are building. Every summer, players hit free agency and the entire league reshuffles. Some moves are predictable. A player re-signs with their team, maintains the status quo, everyone moves on. But some moves are genuinely seismic. Players changing coasts. Stars forcing their way to new situations. Veterans chasing rings. Young players choosing money over opportunity or opportunity over money. These decisions cascade across the league and create ripple effects that teams are dealing with for years. The Lakers are active in this market. They're making calls. Their agents are talking to other agents. The conversations are happening. And while most of what gets reported in the NBA free agent market is noise, a lot of it is speculation, a lot of it is agents playing teams against each other to drive up prices, some of it is real. Some of it is genuine. And the genuine stuff that involves the Lakers right now is pointing in one direction. They want to add. They want to upgrade. They want to bring in players who make this team noticeably, meaningfully better. Not marginally better. Not slightly better. Noticeably, obviously, frighteningly better. And they have the tools to do it. I want to pause here for a second and talk about the fan base, because Lakers fans deserve to be talked about. If you are a Lakers fan, if you've been watching this team through the ups and downs, through the post-Kobe rebuilding years, through the LeBron arrival, through the bubble championship, through the playoff exits that felt like emotional gut punches, then you know what kind of hope and pain this franchise specializes in delivering, often simultaneously. Lakers fans are passionate in a way that is genuinely unique. The Hollywood connection, the history, the banners, the legends, Wilt, Kareem, Magic, Worthy, Shaq, Kobe, LeBron, it all creates this weight of expectation that every player and coach and front office person in that building feels every single day. You can't escape it. You can't ignore it. You either rise to it or you get crushed by it. And right now, Lakers fans are feeling something they haven't felt in a while. They're feeling genuine optimism. Not the, well, maybe if everything goes right, kind of optimism. Real, grounded, evidence-based optimism. Based on what they see. Based on what they're hearing. Based on the direction the organization appears to be moving. That feeling. That belief. It's not nothing. It matters. Fan energy feeds into a building. Home court advantage is real. The noise and the passion and the pressure that the Lakers faithful generate in that arena, it does something to opposing teams. It does something to the players wearing purple and gold. It elevates everything. And right now, that fanbase is leaning forward. Expectant. Ready. Believing. Let's get into some of the specific scenarios that have been floated, because this is where the speculation meets the reality and things get really interesting. Scenario 1. The Lakers make a blockbuster trade. A real one. A trade that makes the basketball world stop and stare at their phones for a minute before the reactions start pouring in. The kind of trade where you immediately know the championship picture has changed. In this scenario, they give up a package of young players and draft picks for an established star who changes the entire competitive calculus of the team. This is the aggressive play. The all-in play. The, we're going for it right now, play. The risk here is obvious. You trade away youth. You trade away future flexibility. You trade away the cushion of developing talent. If it works, if the star is healthy, if the fit is right, if the team chemistry clicks, it's genius. If it doesn't work, if injuries happen or the fit is wrong or the chemistry is off, you're looking at a painful rebuild. Scenario 2. The Lakers make a series of smaller but still impactful moves. They add multiple pieces rather than one big one. They sign a couple of veterans who fit specific needs. They find the right backup guard. They find the perimeter defender they've been missing. They find the three-point shooter who spaces the floor the way they need. They don't make the headline-grabbing move, but they quietly and methodically upgrade every weak point on the roster. This is the smarter play in some ways. Lower risk. More flexibility. But it requires more patience and more trust that the accumulation of improvements will add up to something greater than the sum of its parts. And the NBA is not always patient with accumulation. Sometimes you need to make the move. Scenario 3. They do both. They make a big move and they plug the smaller holes. This is the ideal scenario. This is the championship-winning scenario. And based on everything that's being reported, based on everything that's being whispered, this is what the Lakers are actually trying to do. I keep coming back to Anthony Davis. I can't help it, because I think his situation is genuinely the key to everything. Health. That's the word. That's the variable that defines everything about Anthony Davis's career and everything about this Lakers team's ceiling. When Davis is healthy for a full season, when he plays 70, 75, 80 games, the Lakers are an elite basketball team capable of competing with anyone on the planet. When Davis misses time, which, historically, he has, the Lakers are a good team that gets by on LeBron's brilliance and determination. The Lakers have invested heavily in Davis's physical maintenance. The training staff, the recovery protocols, the load management decisions, all of it has been geared toward keeping Davis's body as healthy and functional as possible over the longest possible stretch. Because they know. They understand viscerally. Anthony Davis at full health, for a full season, in a true championship-caliber supporting cast? That's a dynasty. That's potentially multiple championships. That's banners and rings and immortality in Lakers lore. And Davis himself has spoken about this with a conviction that suggests he understands the stakes. He's talked about wanting to be remembered as one of the greatest Lakers ever. As a player who delivered championships to this franchise. As a player who fully realized his enormous potential. Those are not small ambitions. Those are the ambitions of someone who feels the weight of what he's capable of and is ready to carry it. That readiness, that full engagement, that complete commitment, is something the Lakers haven't always had from Davis. And now that they have it, they're not wasting a single second. Let me tell you about what happens when the Lakers get this right. Let me paint the picture of what this season could look like if everything comes together the way the front office is hoping. Picture Anthony Davis in the post, fully healthy, fully locked in, with shooters spread around him and a point guard who can actually create for others. Picture the defense, and this team, when Davis is anchoring it, can be one of the best defensive teams in the league, smothering opponents, contesting shots, making teams work for every single point. Picture the offense clicking, the ball moving, the three-pointers falling, the transition buckets adding up, Davis dunking over helpless defenders in the open court. Picture LeBron James, whatever role he's playing, whether it's the primary engine or the veteran closer or the sixth-man option if it ever came to that, picture LeBron James. In the biggest moments. Because LeBron in the biggest moments is one of the most reliable things in the history of professional basketball. He rises. He always rises. Picture a deep, versatile roster where the second unit doesn't lose games. Where the guys who close quarters aren't a liability. Where your 10th man can guard someone and hit an open three if he has to. Picture a team where everybody knows their role and executes it without ego and without complaint because they've all bought into something bigger than themselves. That team is scary. That team is legitimately scary. And the Lakers believe they're 5-6 moves away from being that team. Not years. Moves. Decisions. Executions. The chess pieces are there. The board is set. The move is about to be made. Let me talk about the media narrative around the Lakers for a second, because it's worth addressing. The Lakers are the most covered team in basketball. Not the best team, the most covered. Every practice, every rumor, every trade whisper, every press conference, every cryptic social media post from a player, it all gets amplified to a degree that no other franchise experiences. The microscope on this team is powerful and unforgiving and constant. This creates a weird dynamic. On one hand, the coverage helps the Lakers. It drives the narrative. It builds the hype. It keeps their brand at the center of every basketball conversation, even in the off-season. On the other hand, it creates a noise problem. There is so much reporting about the Lakers, so much speculation, so much hot take energy, so much content created around even the smallest story, that it can be genuinely difficult to separate the real stuff from the manufactured drama. So let me be your guide through that noise. Let me tell you what actually matters and what you can safely ignore. What matters? The specific reports about trade targets coming from credentialed reporters with actual sources inside the organization. What matters? Anthony Davis's health updates and how he looks in practice. What matters? The structure of any deals, the lengths, the money, the options, the protections, because those details tell you what the organization actually thinks about the players they're signing. What matters? The coaching staff's decisions about rotation and lineups, because those tell you where they believe the team's identity lives. What you can mostly ignore, the social media speculation. The "he liked this tweet" analysis. The reading of body language at public events. The manufactured drama about interpersonal relationships inside the locker room. Most of that is noise. Entertaining noise sometimes, but noise. The signal is clear for anyone paying attention. The Lakers are building something. The pieces are moving. The moment is approaching. Let's talk about one more thing before we get to the conclusion, and that's the concept of timing. Timing in the NBA is everything. The best team doesn't always win the championship. The most talented collection of players doesn't always walk away with the trophy. What matters, what actually matters above almost everything else, is whether you peak at the right moment. Whether you're playing your best basketball when it's tournament time. Whether your stars are healthy when the games matter most. Whether the chemistry has had enough time to develop, but not so much time that it started to fray. Championship windows are real. They open and they close. And sometimes they close faster than you expect. History is full of teams that looked like they had multiple championship opportunities and ended up winning none. And history is equally full of teams that put it together for one magical run that nobody quite saw coming. The Lakers are acutely aware of this. They're aware of their window. They're aware of how much time they have, or might have, with their current core. And they are not interested in letting the window close without making the most forceful possible push through it. That urgency is palpable. You can feel it in every move they make. In the speed with which they're trying to get things done. In the aggressive posture they're taking toward the trade market and free agency. In the way they're talking, internally and externally, about what they're trying to accomplish. They know what time it is. And they're not wasting any of it. So where does all of this leave us? What's the bottom line? What should you take away from everything we've talked about? Here's what I believe, based on everything that's been reported and everything the signs are pointing toward. The Los Angeles Lakers are in the process of making moves that will fundamentally change their competitive standing in the NBA. These are not minor adjustments. These are not incremental improvements. These are significant, ambitious, championship-caliber moves designed to put this team back in the conversation for the Larry O'Brien Trophy. Anthony Davis is the centerpiece and he is fully bought in. The front office has assets and is willing to use them aggressively. The coaching staff is developing an identity and building trust with the players. The organizational culture is aligned around a single goal. And the gravitational pull of this franchise, the history, the market, the legacy, the purple and gold, continues to be one of the most powerful recruiting tools in professional sports. Is it guaranteed? No. Nothing in sports is guaranteed. Every plan looks great until real basketball starts getting played and real injuries happen and real adversity tests the assumptions you built everything on. That's what makes sports beautiful and maddening in equal measure. But is this Lakers team closer to a championship than the narrative suggests? Absolutely. Are they about to do something that surprises people? All signs point to yes. Is the basketball world underestimating them at its own peril? I think so. I genuinely think so. And here's the thing that I want you to really sit with as we wrap this up. The Lakers have been written off before. They've been counted out before. People have declared them dead or irrelevant or past their window or incapable of competing, and they have responded every single time with an organizational shrug and then a move that changed the conversation entirely. Magic Johnson arrives and the Showtime Lakers are born. James Worthy joins the roster and the dynasty is cemented. Shaquille O'Neal comes to Hollywood and the three-peat happens. Kobe Bryant stands alone and delivers 2 more championships through sheer force of will and refusal to accept failure. LeBron James lands in Los Angeles and wins a title in the bubble. Over and over and over again, this franchise has been underestimated, and this franchise has responded by building something worthy of the 17 banners hanging in that arena. This is who they are. This is the pattern. This is what the Lakers do when their backs are against the wall and the doubters are loud and the pressure is maximum. They respond. And right now, the Lakers are responding. The moves are coming. The moment is building. The pieces are aligning. And when it all comes together, and I genuinely believe it will come together, the basketball world is going to be reminded, once again, that you write off the Los Angeles Lakers at your own peril. Something huge is happening. You can feel it in the air. You can see it in the decisions they're making. You can hear it in the whispers coming out of the organization. The Lakers are up to something. Something big. Something real. And we are right here to watch every single second of it unfold. That's it for today. Stay locked in. Stay watching. Because this story is just getting started, and the best chapters? They're still ahead. See you next time.